Welcome back to the Golden Pit for another casted game. On the south side in the purple we have Rico de Cunha as the English, and on the north side in the blue we've got Venom as the French. The classic matchup, English versus French. And who's going to come out on top? Well, I can't wait to see. Let's have a little look at the scouting path of both of these guys. So as we all know, on Golden Pit the center is where all of the gold spawns. So the sheep don't. And oh, Rico, you missed a sheep, mate. There's one there. So this is something I've been trying to do in my games, and a lot of people have mentioned to me as well. When you're scouting, you want to avoid staring at your Dark Age build, and you want to be going around making sure that you're catching all of those sheep, because a couple of extra sheep really makes a huge difference. But Rico is going for the standard route, which is down one side of your base, and then I imagine he'll be turning around coming back. If we take a little look at Venom's, he's going for a very safe route. I don't like this one. Obviously, as French, you want to get food. That's quite important. But going this close, if Rico had gone down the other side, he basically would have secured the whole map, basically. So I do think he should have been a bit more aggressive and come maybe out halfway or even right down this side. But a lot of people have also advised me, when you're like this and you're off center, you should really start scouting down the shorter side. So actually, if he'd have gone this way, he would be actually quickest to get down to this half of the map. Whereas if we reveal everything for both players, there we go. So actually, if Rico comes straight here to the sacred site, and he does, he would get there first, and so then he actually secures more of the map. So just a little strategy there. If we go and take a little look at what Rico's doing, he's doing something a little bit spicy. We can see Wheelbarrow in queue already in Dark Age, which is an interesting choice. You don't often see a Dark Age wheelbarrow these days, not in this economy. But he's also out on the deer, so he is going to get that increased food income. But there are no survival techniques as of yet, so he's not going to be getting that boosted food income. Oh, I'm not a fan of this rallying over to the deer. I think sending your first 6 makes perfect sense, but personally I would be putting the rest on here to reduce the idle time, because you do have enough sheep to keep you going, and having these guys there is going to boost it anyway. But the early wheelbarrow is going to slow down his age up quite a bit, because it's 150 gold. By now he would already have the gold and he'd be getting closer, but linking it up with the deer, it's not going to slow him down overall, I think. But it's an interesting choice. You don't often see English going out on the map for food. This is actually almost the reverse. I would expect French to do this instead, where they actually would go, like here, they would actually go straight out onto the deer, or with this lucky spawn, they could have actually just gone straight for this boar, and then using that to then boost their food income ready for when those knights pop out. So I would expect to see French very soon on the exposed resources. And Golden Pit is really nice because you also get these little mini packs, so you can see 3 little Bambis over here, there's a couple of extra Bambis over there, and there's also a little stag. So there's one guy looking after the Bambis. But so you expect French to be out on the map because they need a lot more food, whereas English get cheap farms, so generally you don't see them doing that. But we've seen Rico going with Council Hall and only aging up with 3. So I think this is quite interesting, considering it's a slower age up from going on the deer. I would expect to age up with a few more villagers than that to try and bridge the gap. But you know, maybe he's going for a slow age up because he's going to put something else in. There's going to be no king coming out, so I don't imagine we're going to be seeing a TC at this stage. But maybe it's just going to be a spear longbow push. But as we can see, French Venom has hit the feudal age and the knight is in queue. So in 15 seconds, a 415 knight, that's a really good timing. So that knight's going to come out, and hopefully we're going to see where he's rallied over. He sent it straight out to, let's follow the line, where are we going, guys? Straight to the deer. So this is really good. He scouted that out, and that knight's going to be able to either run straight in here or round the back. I hope he takes this front path, because then he can cut off these villagers and really get a nice big hit on them. So the first knight is out, and if we watch him as he's coming over, we can see where he goes. And with the French, this is really important with that early aggression. You really need to get damage with these early knights, or at least idle the economy. You don't want them to get set up with all of those spears, because once they've got a big spear blob, then you're in real trouble. Also, you want to be thinking about whether you're going to need to add in archers at a later date, or if you're doing any other eco things. We can also see from the minimap that he is now on that deer pack on the back, which I think is definitely a good choice. And in comes the knight, and Oh, don't burn the mill. You want to get a villager hit. So, oh, he lost the charge, and but he is going to get a villager if he can target the right one. So, oh, the knight targeting the wrong villager. Oh, you hate to see it. So these villagers might all actually get away. Oh, that's really unlucky there for Venom. I think notifying them by hitting the mill was a really bad choice there. You want to get right up to those villagers, get your charge and your hit, and then you automatically take out one villager. And as we can see, Rico is in the feudal age, barracks being dropped immediately, but no longbows in queue. So whether he's planning on holding off until he can keep those knights away, but he has done some defensive walling. This is a pretty nice wall as long as Venom doesn't get any archers. So there we go, one villager down there for those royal knights and getting a nice bit of damage. Pulling them away now to try and keep them in health. I don't think we're going to be seeing chivalry just yet, but you really, as the French, you need to keep those knights alive. But as I was saying about this wall, this is really great against knights because they can't do the damage, but all you need to do is put an archer there and you deny all of this. So personally, I would have preferred to see a wall, like a safe wall, straight across here and straight down. We can see the knights running under TC to try and idle those gold villagers, also idling the stables under there, but taking a huge amount of damage, and also attacking from the other side. But the spear is out and going to take that knight out, and the villagers getting the scout. Oh, that's a lot of damage there for Venom, and really nice little fight for Rico. He's playing a really safe game now, walling up, or planning on walling up this south side so that he can keep himself safe. But on this north side, I would have preferred a little wall across here, and then that would have basically blocked this because this is all kept, and then that gold would be nice and secure. The same on this side. This one is actually fine. It's not a bad wall at all, but if you were trying to protect that gold from archers, you'd go from here to this cliff and then you go straight across to that wood line and keep them off there. But another knight coming in now. Venom just queuing knights, no scout coming back out. I really think a scout would be good at this stage because he's going to get caught out by these spears. It's not worth it for one villager kill. That's still another knight down, lower than half health. That's a lot of damage there for Venom. So let's take a look at Venom's base while we're doing this. The knight is there attacking it. He's heavy on the gold. He's out on the deer with 5 villagers, and another knight got by the spears. Oh no, this is real trouble now. But neither playing making units at this stage. So Venom literally has 1 knight, and longbows are only just coming into queue. So this is quite a slow start to the aggression, I think. And both of these players aren't actually... Oh, I don't like this wall. I don't like that wall at all. It's obviously it's under the TC, absolutely fine. But why would you just wall up to here? You'd also get the hunt, and then you could just do a short wall there for the same thing. Then you secure 2 food sources. As English, you don't really need them, but if you've got the deer, why not take them? I think that makes sense. We can see there's a horseman going out now, and I imagine if we flick over to his zoom, we're going to see it rallied over to try and do damage. But is the knight going to see it? Oh, they're just running past each other. So the knight's trying to find damage, but Rico is really walled in right up to the TC there, so that's going to be a real pathing problem if he tries to come in from that side. Burning that wall down is going to take him forever. And we can also see that Venom is now getting a little bit defensive with a huge wall. Oh, I don't like these walls, guys. We can see he's got horticulture coming in. This wall, don't do that. I would do it across to the gold. Use your resources. So across to the gold and across to that wood line there would save you so much wood. You don't need to be 2 little short walls. But also, if you're being pressured and you don't see any units, you could be a little bit more aggressive and literally just wall across the front. And then like a tiny wall there and a tiny wall there, and you literally secure your whole half of the map. But yeah, there's no point in having this big wall on this side if you're going to leave all your exposed resources open, because actually there isn't really anything here. There's berries, but you've got deer and gold on that side. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of that one at this stage. But the fast castle has come in. He's going for the Royal Institute. Usually you see the Royal Institute when you've got loads of knights on the field and you're planning to really finish it in castle. So not sure what his plan is as of yet, but he is going to get castle age, which means he will get that tech advantage. So if he can keep going and keep his units alive for longer, then he's going to be all right. But that knight is not going to be able to do it against the horsemen, and they are going to find some damage in the base. So are they going to extend? Oh, there we go. Nice pullback from Rico there. Not overextending with his horsemen. You don't want them running under the TC fire because that's going to be a lot. And taking out the house, taking some resources there as well, with the little mass of spears and archers coming across. So both players doing a little bit of poking here and there. The the deer on the backside would be a great spot for him to hit if he knows they are there, and he does. So there we go. Is he going to come in? Oh no, he's also attacking the mill. It's like the mill's a target in this game. He definitely wants to be focusing on the villagers. Venom hitting Castle Age and the spears coming out to try and deny these horses, and there we go. The Venom Rico is circling Venom now, trying to find some damage, but his longbows aren't going to have enough range to really get anything from there. But these guys, oh dear, that wall is great, but you don't want to be gathering wood from here. That's really bad, because they can just stand right there. Personally, if you're going to wall that, I would move all these guys over here at least to somewhere safe. I think that's better. Horsemen now getting pinned in by that wall and trying to do some damage, but they're just going to get taken out by those spears and by TC fire as the berries are used up by Venom. If we take a little look over at Rico's side, he's slowly setting up his farms now in the back, so getting those English farms going and pumping. He's really pinned himself in with these walls, so he's not going to have a huge amount of space for a while to go out and build more farms. But he does have some stone, and he's got 2 gold veins, so that should do him, at least for the foreseeable future. So Castle Age has come through. If we check out the Royal Institute, none of those upgrades are in or in queue yet. So I think this is an interesting choice. I think normally when you go for a landmark like this, you're trying to get a tech advantage. So immediately you want to be getting these upgrades because they're supposed to be giving you an advantage. They're 30% cheaper. They don't have the age requirements, so you can get the Imperial techs as well. So really, you want to be producing units, but why would you make men-at-arms when you don't have any upgrades here that improve men-at-arms? Arbatriers, fantastic, amazing. They get melee armor, so they'll be able to defend against men-at-arms very nicely. You've got the cantled saddles that increases damage after charging. You've got chivalry. So everything leans you into going for knights, or knights and arbatriers, and actually he's going for men-at-arms. So quite an interesting choice. He will tank it, but longbows can still kite like crazy. So, and also English do have their own men-at-arms, so it's a very interesting choice here from Venom as he goes for some more eco-techs, getting those in, but I think that gold would be best spent elsewhere. And he's got the free French +2 on his melee attack, so these guys are going to be packing a little bit of an extra punch. We can see there that they've got that 14 base damage. If we take a look at this big fight going on, Knight going down, Scout about to go down, and the men-at-arms tanking up that damage. So we can see a lot of these archers, and they're moving in to get as much as possible. Those men-at-arms are going to be around for a while, so this is not going to be the best fight if it's prolonged. But we can see horsemen running in from the top, hitting villagers, and Rico is really hitting him now. And these guys, they are tanky, but you've got to be careful not to take it for too long. We've got another knight coming out, 1 spear getting a hit, and they're taking a lot of damage. I'd be really worried about this if I were Venom. Another unit going down, and the men-at-arms now chasing those longbows. But we can see now horses coming in and getting the wood line, 2 villagers down for each of these, and Rico is fully walled in, and his longbows are trying to do that, but I think they have seen the end of this battle, the men-at-arms swiftly cleaning them up as Rico's just about to get the resources for his Castle Age up. So now this is where Venom needs to be. Oh no, this is not good for him. He's doing a farm transition now. That's really not the position you want to be in as the French. I would say he hasn't taken this boar yet. He's going to now, which is a good choice. He needs to get his food income up, because the English, as we all know, they don't worry about food because they have super cheap farms. So they're going to be able to live their best life. And I imagine we're going to see King's Palace. Exactly. Just the right choice there, I think, from Rico, because he's not getting pressured, he doesn't need the White Tower, and this is going to give him that eco boost, especially against French, who get that increased production speed on their villagers. So let's take a little look at the French mass that's coming across. The slow-moving men-at-arms and spears are moving their way across. I think definitely trying to get some cavalry would be a good choice as they take on the boar. Trying to micro the villagers there, saving one of them. I think that's good, and just about making it. No villagers down, which is really nicely done. Both of these guys in castle will flick over to the income per minute as we see what Rico has in store for Venom. So men-at-arms swiftly moving across here, trying to find some damage, and towers going up for the English. That's going to extend that network of castles that he has at the moment. So his food eco is going to really start picking up. as soon as he starts adding in more of those farms, and his villagers are really going to take off because now he's got all of this room. He's also secured the ball, which is pretty nice. Personally, again, I don't like this wall. It's super long. I would definitely just do one here, because then that would also secure all of this, and you get another mini deer pack as well, and you secure the whole berries and loads of room for expansion and production and all that good stuff. We've got the veteran upgrade for Royal Knights in queue. Again, this is a tip that I've heard a lot of people telling me about, is don't get the veteran upgrade before you have the units. You'd much rather have 4 knights on the field than have the veteran upgrade with no knights on the field, because he doesn't have any at the moment. And then if you have to switch away from them, you've not wasted it on the upgrade. So I think going for men-at-arms is fine, because obviously they don't need an upgrade because they're a castle unit. But if you're getting knights, get the knights and then upgrade them, because the upgrade is quite expensive. So it's like getting the mining upgrade but not actually mining any gold. It kind of doesn't quite make sense economically. So Venom is now pulling back to his base. I'm not sure why he's being so defensive at this stage. He hasn't seen too many units from Rico, but maybe he's scared of the English mass that will inevitably be coming. So farms coming down next to the boar. They're just giving him something nice to look at rather than gathering him up, as the villagers are pumping out of the King's Palace, making sure we don't have any idle time. We definitely don't want to be seeing that, because there's no point having 2 TC if you're not going to be producing from both. So hopefully we see some units pop in, some villagers pop in there any second. The military coming up now, both players just slowly trying to mass. We've got a big farm transition at the back there for Venom, and because he doesn't have the other landmark, he's not going to be getting any of those tickets to get resources, so this is going to be costing him a lot of resources. So his food will go up, and we can see he's starting to get a decent income now, but it's a bit much more expensive transition than for the English. There's a short wall being put over here with one little idle guy taking a little nap, but there we go, it's fully closed off now, and we want to see a gate in there as well. So both players walling up, being defensive, trying to stop those preemptive raids. But one thing I would say, we're both in castle. Where are the monasteries? Where are the relics? What's happening? So we can see there's a knight just chilling over here in the corner. I definitely think going and trying to poke somewhere, even just damaging the wall for an alert would be good, but we definitely want to be trying to pick up these relics. So we can see Rico had the same idea. He's got a monastery down and he's going for them. Let's see where he's going first. He's going for this safe one. I think that's probably a good choice, because the French are now out on the map. So that one over to that side should be fairly safe, but obviously he doesn't know there's a knight there. So if Venom sees it, he might be able to take that villager out before. So what's... Oh, and there's more villagers. Oh no, they're going to get caught by the knight. What's happening? Does Venom see it? Let's wait. So this is where, if Venom can catch it, then this is going to be a nice bit of damage. But he can't decide. Is it villager? Is it the monk? I definitely think the monk is the right call, because you don't want to let him get that relic home, because it's a lot of resources. He does have villagers out there. These guys should definitely be moving away now. He knows there's a knight, but he has secured that first relic. Venom not thinking about relics at the moment. He's just producing as many units as he can, going for horsemen, and there is a knight that's made it through. The wall hasn't been finished. This villager has just gone on to get some wood and not finished it. So now this knight is going to be able to get into the wood line and do some damage, but he's now going for the stables, of course, exactly, because, you know, that's what you want to be attacking. We can see the men-at-arms and some units coming in here, and oh, Rico hasn't pulled these away. That's going to be 4 villagers down if he's not careful. So this is where they both got to be really careful not to take too much damage. We can see Rico's main force moving out to the center. Is he going to pull back when he sees the alert? That's the question. Are we going to see these guys flooding back, or is he just going to keep heading over? So it looks like those villagers are sacrificial lambs for the slaughter, as the English mass moves out to the center to try and do some damage to the French. Going for the tower, trying to get as many villagers as they can. Only 5 can fit, so that's a real problem, while there's a knight in the back that's taken out by mass spears from Venom. So the English mass now almost double the military, and the villager numbers about the same. So this is starting to look very much in Rico's favor. All those villagers taken out as the tower goes down, but we can see a breakthrough in the English lines. Oh no, the French have made it through, and now they are decimating those English pastures. You don't like to see this as an Englishman, but the spears and the crossbows are doing a lot of damage, but it looks like the numbers for Venom are just too high, and he's trying to do a Wallalol, but now that's gone, and now that relic is not giving him the income, so that's a nice little extra damage to his income there for Venom. Pulling out before he takes too much damage and trying to get more. I definitely think as he's got the Royal Institute, he wants to be getting knights, at least just for raiding, but we can see that Rico is now moving out, trying to circle around and find some more damage, and Venom is rallying to the side, so if he's not careful, his units are going to be out of position. We can also see the villager pulling back now, and they're rebuilding the tower and the mining camp there. So more villagers trying to wall up, and the French trying to stop them doing that, trying to do a bit more damage. Almost equal villager kills at the moment, so they're both doing a lot of damage to each other, but if they're not caught out, the crossbows are going to take those guys out very nicely. So 2 relics in the bag so far for Rico, none for Venom, and it doesn't look like he's going for it because he's now got an invasion on his north side. The gates are open and the English are flooding in, and these villagers on the farms are in real danger. But if Rico overextends here, it's going to be a real problem for him, so I want to be really careful. They're circling around. Oh, there's too many spears there. You definitely want to be seeing more archers with the amount of spears that he's got. That's definitely the right call. Crossbows, going horsemen against the crossbows I think is good, but you just don't have the numbers. Men-at-arms coming to tank, but I think there's just too many units here for Rico for Venom to do it. He needs to be a bit more defensive, pull these villagers away and try and mass up before he takes another big fight, because he's also divided. He's got another force over here of a lot of units, so the English, all of their military together, and the second batch of reinforcements now flooding out and going to catch them unawares with their French pants down. We can see, there we go, crossbows taking out some more villagers, up to 14 now for Rico, and they did catch the relic. Nicely done there. So they've denied that relic just for now, but there are still another 2 on the map because Venom has picked up the first one, so that's going to help his income. But these guys, oh no, another knight caught out. That's an expensive loss. This is where you've got to be really careful of your rally points when you're defending like this, because one rally point in the wrong direction is going to be a real problem. So now they are moving around, circling around really nicely here by Rico, going out, and he's going to find those farms, and those villagers are going to go down. So even though he's on TTC, he's not quite catching up, so I imagine we've got a little bit of idle time on his TC at the moment. But he is starting to bridge that gap and do more damage. As we can see, he's also on the outside pushing him off that gold as well, and this is where Venom is now going to be in trouble. If he can't keep that gold available, then he's not going to be able to produce those gold units, which is what he needs at this stage to defend. Men-at-arms going into crossbows, that's quite a dangerous move, and definitely want to be seeing some A-moving here from Venom. Let's see how he takes this fight. There we go. The English mass at the back is cleaned up, but if we take a little look, they are now pushing from the front. So let's take a look at Rico's vision. So can he see over the wall? So he actually can't get vision here. If he had a scout, he'd actually be able to shoot these villagers on the wood line. But that wall is going to be going down pretty quickly, and then I think that's going to be a bad spot. So I'd be moving these guys away as quickly as I possibly could. I definitely wouldn't be risking a chop through at this stage. I'd be moving them over to a safe wood line somewhere hidden. But also, this wall's not completed. Oh no, that's really bad. Oh, they're flooding through the French units trying to take a big fight. Have they got enough to really do the damage? The crossbows kiting the knights and the men-at-arms, so Venom has gone really heavy into heavy, and the crossbows are the perfect counter. But Rico, oh, not a lot of kiting going on. Both guys just normal moving, no A move. These knights need to be trying to move ahead so they can get some really strong hits off on the infantry. So as they move out, there we go, getting a couple of little sneak hits, but there we go. So, and even more spears. Oh, these cavalry are going to go down. They're going to melt those spears. Oh dear, that was huge. And now the crossbows have the front line. They're going to be able to take out those men-at-arms, being careful of the knights in the back. A couple of spears doing some huge damage there. Oh, this is a great fight for Rico. Those crossbows really melting those men-at-arms, and the French numbers just dwindling. The sea of blue is now turning into a sea of purple, and Venom is going to call it. One huge fight at the end, and that is it. So let's go into the post-match review, and stick around till the end because I'll have another recommendation just for you. Here we are then, just before GG was called, to take a look back over the game and see what both of these guys could have done differently. So let's zoom out, bring up the interface, give it a cheeky pause, and we'll take a little look. So first of all, I think I mentioned it in the game, walling, and this is something I'm guilty of. If you've watched my games, I'm sure you're thinking, hey Amouranth, what do you know about walling? Well, exactly, but having a wall like this that isn't finished, I think, is obviously not the best move. It's a really big wall, but I think in this case it's really the only position for it. But these little front walls, I like them. I think this is really nice. This one here, again, I would probably try to put them as far out as I could possibly manage, just to stop those archers firing over the top, because if Rico had vision here, he would actually be able to get these guys and these guys with those crossbows. So I would probably also try to put that one just a little bit further out, just to give me a bit more space to breathe. This big wall right at the beginning, it didn't really do much because they could just come back here and just burn it anyway. So, but even just sort of a little short one here to the gold and to the back would have been really nice. The same on Rico's side, I think, actually just straight off going for walls like he did here. A little short wall there and then this one, or while he wasn't being pressured, he actually could have just taken a couple of spears and tried to defend that. Maybe I'm a bit too greedy when I wall, but that's personally how I would go. Also at the beginning, if you're going to go out on the early deer, I think you really want to take advantage of it. So once you build the walls, you want to secure that in. You'd also get the extra stone as well, which is always really good. I do think the early wheelbarrow for Rico did slow him down, because I couldn't really tell from what he was planning whether he was going for a fast castle or he was going for a feudal aggro. It was kind of somewhere in the middle. So if actually he had just gone for a standard opening, his barracks and council hall would have been down much quicker, and then he could have either pushed out or he could have done whatever his plan was. But slowing down that age up by putting the wheelbarrow in first doesn't quite make sense. I think it's at least for me, I would see that putting the wheelbarrow in after you've aged up, you're not slowing down your age up and you're still getting the benefit, especially as English doesn't get discounts, whereas French do get discounted upgrades. It's less impactful on their economy, but then it has a better positive effect as well. If we take a little look over the farm transition that was forced for Venom because he used up the food and hadn't secured stuff like the boar and any additional berries, was really expensive for him. If we see all these farms which are currently unmanned as the English have been here decimating his back line, but that's really hurt him. You can also see that there are a lot of extra villagers taken out by Rico, and that's why the villager numbers are looking a little bit less for Venom. But I would expect to see Rico's numbers a little bit higher, considering he went for the King's Palace, so he was on 2 TC for half of that game. So I'm not going to do the maths because I can't, but I would expect that this should be a little bit higher, so making sure we're getting those villagers in is definitely a massive improvement. Also on the French side, I think in terms of like the composition, I think they had the right idea. I think eventually when you see all those crossbows, you need to switch away from men-at-arms and just go for something else, to be perfectly honest. And I think if you're going to go for the Royal Institute, you need to be taking advantage of all of these things that you are getting. So there was no chivalry, no extra knights coming in, and obviously with the knights going against crossbows, that's not ideal, but horseman knights, you'd still be able to do a bit of damage. But I think if you're going up with the Royal Institute and you're doing a fast castle, you really want to be trying to do something that's taking advantage of this. Otherwise, what's the point, personally? So it's an interesting one. Neither player really tried to secure the center. No keeps or something going down, which especially for the English is extra beneficial. So if they'd got some extra towers going across the map to get that network of castles, even one dropped here would have done masses to get them doing extra damage. And also the relics were really slow to be picked up by both. Both of them were focusing on other things. Obviously, neither of them get a monastery immediately, so that's a little bit slower. But I definitely think Rico could have got probably 4 of these, or if Venom had focused on it, he probably could have grabbed a couple of extra, which really would have helped his eco, because if we have a look, he's got tons of wood now, but he's basically got no food and no gold, so he hasn't actually secured any gold with these walls. If you see here, if he'd have at least got this little one, that would have kept him going for a little bit longer, whereas yeah, Rico now has the map control, he's flooding units across, and so he's living his best life on almost 3 relics, so his gold income is more than enough to sustain him to spam out those units. But in the end, Venom just couldn't stop the English flood, and I think maybe keeping those units alive a little longer and doing a bit more damage with those early raids definitely would have helped. But if you enjoyed this game, make sure you give it a like, consider subscribing to the channel, it's really nice if you do, and check out the recommendation in the cards above. Have a great day, whatever you're doing, and I will see you next time for some more crazy Age of Empires.